The cub fell, 30 pounds of fur and fear tumbling through the air. Before anyone could shout, the human moved. Sophia Martinez didn't think. Her arms just caught him, and in that instant, every predator in the room, creatures that could tear steel apart, stopped breathing. Then one by one they bowed their heads. What had she done? She only saved a child, but to them, it was something else. Something ancient. Something that made the galaxy's deadliest hunters kneel before a human who simply cared. Hey everyone, if you love stories where human instinct turns the entire galaxy upside down, hit that like button. Subscribe if you believe kindness can be humanity's greatest power. And share this one with your friends because trust me, what happens after this moment changes everything. It happened in less than a heartbeat. One moment Sophia Martinez was standing near the back of the observation deck, half listening to some long diplomatic speech about interspecies medical cooperation. The next she saw movement. A flash of fur, a startled squeal, a shadow tumbling from the platform above. A cub. A small VIN juvenile, 30 pounds of fur and fear, was falling through the air. Sophia didn't think. She didn't plan. Her body simply moved. Her boots skidded against the polished deck, her hands shot out, and before her brain caught up, she was holding the trembling cub against her chest. Then silence. Not the kind of silence that comes when people stop talking. This was the kind that pressed against your skin. A vacuum of sound. Every breath in the room had stopped at once. 32 alien species filled that observation deck, each one a predator. Apex hunters from every corner of the galaxy. And at that exact moment, every single one of them froze. Sophia blinked. The cub whimpered softly in her arms, small claws curling into her scrubs. "It's okay," she whispered instinctively, rubbing a circle between its furry shoulder blades. "You're safe, little guy." The cub's breathing slowed. A small, rhythmic purr began to rise from its chest, but the rest of the room didn't move. The VIN delegation, 7-foot-tall, amber-eyed predators built like walking tigers, had all bowed their heads, their ears flattened, their claws retracted. Sophia frowned. Is everyone okay?" No answer. Across the room, the Kyle pack, known for their booming laughs and volatile tempers, had pressed themselves flat against the wall. Even the Zithians, creatures of light and crystal, dimmed their glow, refracting into a dull, submissive hue. Something primal hung in the air, a tension so heavy she could feel it in her ribs. Then Commander Korvax, head of station security, towering VIN male with scales and fur interlaced, spoke in a trembling voice that didn't match his usual confidence. "Please," he said, his claws shaking. "Put the cub down." Sophia looked at him, baffled. "He's fine, just scared." "Please," Korvax repeated. His tone wasn't a command, it was a plea. The cub purred louder, burrowing deeper into Sophia's shoulder. The room seemed to tense further, if that was even possible. Sophia adjusted her hold. "I don't think he wants me to put him down." That simple sentence sent a ripple through the gathered crowd. Predators flinched. One of them whimpered. The VIN delegation leader, an older female with silver-tipped fur, slowly lowered herself to the floor. "Apex recognition," she whispered, barely audible. "You triggered apex recognition." Sophia blinked. "What does that even mean?" The woman didn't answer. She couldn't. Her breathing had slowed, her muscles locked in some deep biological reflex. Before Sophia could ask again, the station AI's voice echoed through the observation deck.
Security Protocol Alpha 9 initiated. Lockdown procedures beginning in 30 seconds. All personnel maintain current positions. Lockdown. Sophia's confusion deepened. For what? What's the threat? Threat assessment. Updating classification. The AI droned. "I caught a baby." Sophia protested. "That's not a threat." No one answered. No one could. The only sound in the room was the cub's steady purring. Then Dr. Azla, a Kale medical director with orange fur and dark eyes, managed to speak in a slow, trembling voice. "Sophia, listen carefully. We need you to stay calm. I am calm, she said. You're all acting weird and it's freaking me out. Azula's jaw worked as if forcing the words through pure will. The way you're holding him, it triggered something in us. Something ancient. You demonstrated absolute protective dominance. Every predator here recognized you as superior. Sophia's mouth dropped open. I'm not superior to anyone. I'm a vet tech from Earth. Korvax's claws dug into the floor. Instinct doesn't care about your resume, he said hoarsely. My body, my species, cannot move against you while you hold that cub. Sophia looked down at the small creature, still clinging to her. So, by saving him, I somehow broke your biology? Yes, Azula whispered. And that means you're now the apex of this entire room. Sophia laughed weakly. That's insane. Korvax's golden eyes met hers, filled with both fury and fear. Yes, he said softly. It is... The AI's voice interrupted again. Threat classification updating. Recalibrating. Error. Recalculating. Stand by. Sophia groaned. Please tell me it's not calling me a threat. No one answered. Finally, Ambassador Xylax, an Eldervin male with silver muzzle fur, descended from the platform, moving like someone pushing against invisible restraints. When he was 10 feet away, he stopped and dropped to his knees. Ambassador, Sophia gasped. Please don't do that. It's not voluntary, he said, voice muffled against the floor. The instinct runs deep. You have demonstrated absolute authority in the protection of young. Not through aggression, but through undeniable instinct. The cub recognized you as safe. Every predator in this room recognized you as beyond challenge. Sophia's stomach dropped. You're saying I made all of you bow by catching a baby? By how you caught him, Xylax said. By how he calmed in your arms. By the certainty in your touch. The cub yawned then, stretching, and gently licked Sophia's chin. Every predator in the room shuddered. Sophia blinked. What? He's just... You groomed him, Azula interrupted. Her voice was trembling again. That act confirmed the bond. You established yourself as his protector, as family. To all of us, that means one thing. Valia, the silver-furred Vin leader, finish for her. You are our apex. Sophia froze, the absurdity of it all crashing in waves. All she did was catch a falling cub. But to them, she had become something more. Not a predator, not a ruler, a protector. And in a galaxy ruled by hunters, that was the most dominant thing of all. The AI's voice echoed again, colder this time. Threat classification complete. Entity, Sophia Martinez. Classification, extinction event. Galactic Council notified. Sophia's heart stopped. I caught a baby, she whispered. How does that make me an extinction event? Xylax's reply was quiet, solemn. Because, young Martinez, if one human can command every predator through kindness alone, our entire civilization may no longer belong to us. Sophia stood frozen. The cub still pressed against her chest as every creature in the room kept their heads bowed. No one dared look at her directly. No one moved. Even the air felt heavy, like the whole deck was holding its breath. The station's AI voice filled the silence again. All personnel maintained current positions. Lockdown commencing. Panels sealed over the exits. Red lights flashed. The once busy medical observation deck became a sealed bubble of stunned, motionless predators and one confused human vet tech. Okay, Sophia said shakily. This is getting really weird. No response. The cub shifted, yawning against her neck. Its tiny claws flexed, just brushing the fabric of her scrubs. And then another sound filled the air, a low vibration. It took Sophia a moment to realize what she was hearing. The purring. The cub was purring. But it wasn't just sound, it was felt deep and resonant. The kind of frequency that made your bones hum. And with that purr, something shifted again. Every predator in the room dropped even lower. It wasn't fear. It was reverence. Sophia's heartbeat pounded in her ears. Okay, seriously. Somebody needs to explain this. Right now. Azula, the Kale doctor, was trembling as she spoke. You don't understand what you've done. The Apex Recognition Protocol. It's ancient. It's not something that can be taught. You, she swallowed hard, you demonstrated ultimate protection over the young. That overrides every instinct we have. I was just catching a falling kid. Sophia protested. I'd do that for anyone. That, Azula said, is exactly why it works. Sophia frowned. What's that supposed to mean? Xylax, still kneeling, finally raised his head just enough to meet her gaze. His golden eyes were full of something Sophia couldn't name. Fear, yes, but also awe. Because humans don't act from dominance, he said softly. You act from compassion. And to us, that kind of selfless protection is ultimate power. Sophia blinked. So you're saying I'm some kind of apex parent? Essentially, Azula replied. Sophia groaned. Oh, for crying out loud. I have a cat at home who bites my shoes. I'm not an apex anything. Korvox, still rooted in place, gave a humorless laugh. Tell that to my nervous system. Then, as if to emphasize his point, the cub made a soft sound, a questioning chirp. Korvox's body twitched involuntarily, like he wanted to step forward to assist, but couldn't. Sophia noticed it immediately. You can't move closer, can you? No, he said through clenched teeth. Every cell in my body tells me not to challenge you. Challenge me? I'm not. She cut herself off, looking around the room. None of this makes sense. The AI interrupted again, its voice sterile and unervingly calm. Threat probability recalculated. Estimated galactic stability impact. 94% collapse within one cycle. Designating entity. Potential civilization-level disruptor. Sophia's jaw dropped. I'm not a disruptor. I'm a vet tech from Earth. I'm just... Just what? Xylax asked gently. She hesitated. Just someone who catches things before they break. The ambassador's expression softened. And that young human is exactly what makes you dangerous. Sophia didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The idea that her instincts, her care, could threaten galactic civilization sounded insane. But in that moment, surrounded by trembling predators twice her size, she wasn't sure what to believe anymore. Fine, she said finally. Let's test this. Korvox, please step forward. The commander's head snapped up. For the first time, something like defiance sparked behind his eyes. His claws flexed, muscles trembled. Then he moved 3 strides forward. Every alien in the room gasped audibly. Sophia gestured to the cub. See? You can move. Korvox's jaw tightened. Not of my own will. His voice was rough, guttural. My body obeyed before my mind did. Then take him, Sophia said, extending the cub slightly toward him. He's fine now. You can bring him back to his parents. Korvox's hands twitched, but didn't rise. His eyes went wide. Can't. Why not? Because he's still under your protection, he ground out. I can't take him without permission. I am giving you permission. Not the right kind. Sophia threw her hands up. What? Do I have to issue a royal decree? Korvox's claws shook. You have to command me. What? You must command me. Transfer protection authority explicitly. The absurdity of it made her want to laugh again, but she sighed instead. Okay, fine. Korvox, I command you to take this cub. Immediately, Korvox's muscles unlocked. His arms moved in one smooth, instinctive motion as he lifted the cub from her chest. For a second, it seemed to work. Then the cub let out a sharp, piercing wail. Every predator in the room flinched. Korvox's pupils dilated, his breathing quickened, and he turned right back around, placing the cub back in Sophia's arms. The wailing stopped instantly. Sophia blinked in disbelief. What just happened? Azula's laugh was thin, bordering on hysterical. You're not just an apex, she said. You're a protective apex. None of US can remove a young one from your care. The instinct won't allow it. Valia whispered. That level of recognition means our bodies see her not as superior, but as our own apex, the one we'd submit to willingly. Sophia looked down at the cub, who was now completely relaxed, purring again as if none of this chaos mattered. The human side. So I'm basically a galactic babysitter now. More like a biological paradox, Korvax muttered. Sophia gave him a dry look. Great. I'll put that on my resume. The AI chimed once more, its tone colder than before. Final classification. Entity Sophia Martinez. Threat level extinction event. Galactic Council notified. Emergency response teams en route. Sophia stared up at the ceiling. You've got to be kidding me. Xylax slowly stood, every motion deliberate, his head still slightly bowed. Young Martinez, he said quietly, you have done something no creature in recorded history has accomplished. You have overridden the fundamental predator hierarchy. You made apexes bow. I didn't make anyone bow, Sophia replied. You all chose to. Instinct chose, he corrected. And instinct does not bow easily. Then, almost like the universe wanted to drive the point home, the doors hissed open. Dozens of armed soldiers stormed in, weapons raised. Predator species, armored and ready. The moment they saw Sophia, still holding the cub, they froze. Then, as one, they lowered their weapons. Their heads bowed. The officer in charge, tall, scarred, and clearly fighting her own body, managed to speak through gritted teeth. Ma'am, she said, voice trembling, the Galactic Council requests your presence, immediately. Sophia stared at her, stunned. Can I at least put the baby down first? Yes, ma'am, the soldier said. Whatever you require. Sophia exhaled slowly, adjusting the cub in her arms. Good, she said softly, because I think the galaxy is about to have a very long talk. The council chamber was enormous, built like a theater, yet it felt more like an arena. 63 species sat in tiered rings, surrounding a single figure in the center. Sophia Martinez, still holding the Vin cub. He was half asleep, head nestled against her shoulder, his breathing steady. And all around her, rows of alien ambassadors, generals, and scientists sat in tense, reverent silence. Not a single predator species dared sit in the front row. The first to speak was a tall insectoid xenobiologist named Chickaxel, voice clicking with disbelief. This cannot be correct. There are no pheromones, no chemical dominance cues, no aggression patterns. He tapped his console, frustration in every movement. She shows only mild stress hormones and elevated oxytocin levels. Oxytocin, repeated another. Chickaxel's mandibles twitched. The neurochemical of parental bonding. She's not radiating fear or dominance. She's radiating care. And every predator in this room is reacting like hatchlings. That broke the fragile silence. Low growls, nervous chatter, the shuffle of claws and wings. Sophia raised a hand awkwardly. I can hear you, you know. The alien biologist ignored her. Across all known predator species, juvenile recognition patterns are unique. They should not be transferable between species. Yet the moment she caught that cub, every one of us responded. Even recordings of the incident trigger the same instinct. Sophia blinked. Wait, recordings? Korvax, standing stiffly at the edge of the room, nodded. Security staff reviewed the footage. They experienced the same recognition, response through the video. It's spreading through observation. Sophia stared. You're telling me this thing goes viral? Azla, sitting 2 tiers above, replied in a strained voice. It already has. The council chamber erupted again, whispers, claws scraping metal. The chair of the assembly struck the platform with a heavy tone that silenced everyone. Ambassador Xylax rose, leaning on his cane. If the response could be transmitted through mere observation, then the implications are unimaginable. Within a generation, every predator species could become instinctively deferential to humans. Deferential? Hissed one council member. Subservient. Sophia's stomach turned. That's not what I want. I don't want to control anyone. She looked down at the cub, didn't want him to get hurt. That's the problem, murmured Sonera, a Kale representative with sleek orange fur. You didn't want power. You simply acted. That's what makes it terrifying. Chickaxel's antennae trembled. You don't understand. Predators evolved to respect dominance. But humans, he gestured helplessly at her. You bypass dominance entirely. You override it with compassion. You make us want to obey. Sophia winced. Can we not phrase it like that? Xylax spoke again, voice calm but heavy. Young Martinez, the Council must determine whether humanity constitutes an existential threat. An existential, wait, what? For catching a kid? For changing the balance of power in the galaxy, he said gently, even if unintentionally. Sophia shook her head. That's not fair. Biology rarely is, Korvax muttered. Chickaxel stepped forward, his wings folding tight. Perhaps this is not dominance at all, he said. Perhaps it is something deeper, something older than hierarchy itself. Azula's voice trembled. Parental protection. It predates pack structure, predates dominance. It's the first instinct every predator ever evolved. To protect the young, which means, Chickaxel added, humans aren't triggering fear. They're triggering safety. The ultimate override. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Sophia rubbed her forehead. So you're saying every predator in the galaxy now sees humans as universal babysitters? Korvax gave a tight, humorless chuckle. More like universal guardians. Xylax nodded. Predators cannot harm, challenge, or refuse the one who protects their young. It's hardwired. Humans have found a biological backdoor to every apex species. Sophia let out a long, disbelieving sigh. I wish I could say that was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. Before anyone could respond, a new figure entered, a tall Vin female wearing the robes of Galactic Council's high authority. Her posture was rigid, her ears flat, fighting instinct with every step. The Council demands a full report, she announced, and an immediate recommendation for classification of the human species. Xylax straightened as much as his age allowed. We have 3 options, he said. First, classify humanity as an existential threat and quarantine their homeworld. Murmurs of agreement, fearful and sharp. Second, he continued, classify humans as protected species, restricted, watched, but left unharmed. A low growl from somewhere in the back. You cage them. And third, Xylax said softly, we accept what has happened, that humans have changed the biological order. We adapt. We evolve. Silence. Then Cenero whispered what everyone else was thinking. You mean we submit? Not submit, Xylax said. Cooperate. For the first time, predators could build a society not founded on dominance, but on care. Sophia shook her head slowly. You're talking about changing your entire civilization because of me. Xylax met her eyes. Not because of you, because of what you represent. The councilwoman's gaze turned icy. And what is that, Ambassador? The species that proves strength isn't about fear, he replied. It's about protection. The chamber filled with whispers again, heavy and uncertain. Sophia adjusted her grip on the cub as he stirred. The little creature yawned, blinked at her sleepily, and curled closer. And just like that, the entire chamber quieted again. Every predator's head dipped. Every movement froze. Azula's voice broke the silence. There it is again. You see? It's automatic. We can't not react. Korvax nodded grimly. Every instinct says watch, guard, obey. Sophia looked up, exasperated but gentle. You don't need to bow every time I hold a baby. Instinct disagrees, Xylax said dryly. The councilwoman drew a slow breath. Then the decision must be made. If humans possess this capability, we must define its limits. Do they control predators entirely, or only within protective contexts? Sophia frowned. There are limits. I can't make anyone do something cruel or stupid. That's not how it works. Korvax gave her a strange look. How do you know? Sophia hesitated. Then she looked him dead in the eye. Korvax, I order you to give me your security access codes. A collective gasp rippled through the chamber. Korvax froze. Muscles locked. His jaw clenched. For a terrifying second, Sophia thought he might actually answer. Then, slowly his head shook. No. The sound echoed like a thunderclap. Sophia smiled faintly. See? You can refuse. It's not obedience. It's trust. Azula was typing rapidly into her datapad. That matches parental dynamics. Young don't obey parents blindly. They trust them until the parents' guidance endangers them. Then they resist. Xylax's expression softened. You see, counselor, it isn't subjugation. It's guidance. Cooperation built on instinctive trust. The councilwoman's voice was quieter now. So humans aren't conquerors. No, Xylax said. They're caretakers with evolutionary credentials. Sophia exhaled slowly, glancing down at the cub again. If that's what this means, then maybe the galaxy doesn't need a new ruler. She looked up at them all. No, Xylax said. They're caretakers with evolutionary credentials. Sophia exhaled slowly, glancing down at the cub again. If that's what this means, then maybe the galaxy doesn't need a new ruler. She looked up at them all. Maybe it just needs someone willing to catch what's falling. And for the first time in recorded history, the Galactic Council sat completely still. Not in fear, but in reflection. 3 days later, the galaxy had changed, though Sophia Martinez barely noticed. She was elbow-deep in a medical tray, wrapping a bandage around a Telgoran kit's injured paw. The little creature purred softly, completely relaxed in her care. Around her, the medical staff moved with quiet respect. Nobody mentioned the council hearing, but the silence said enough. Then, the station intercom crackled to life. Attention, all personnel. This is Ambassador Xylax with a message from the Galactic Council. Humanity has been officially reclassified as a protected peacekeeper species, with advisory authority in matters of juvenile welfare, medical care, and protective services. All stations are to implement revised protocols effective immediately. Sophia didn't even pause her work. You hear that, Terina? She said to the nurse beside her. Apparently, I'm in charge of galactic childcare. Terina chuckled, shaking her head. You just restructured civilization, and you're still cleaning paw wounds. I'm a vet tech, Sophia replied simply. That's what I do. The nurse smirked. You realize this means every predator species will defer to human judgment now? Especially when young are involved. Sophia groaned softly. Great. More responsibility I didn't ask for. As she finished her patient's bandage, Terina leaned against the counter. Oh, and Commander Korvac sent new protocols. Human staff have automatic override clearance in pediatric emergencies. Of course they do, Sophia muttered, because apparently my presence alone causes lockdowns to surrender. Terina laughed. Could be worse. You could be the one assigned as the council's child welfare advisor. Sophia looked up, alarmed. They're doing that? Already recruiting. Terina said cheerfully. Mandatory human presence for all juvenile-related policy sessions. Sophia sighed. I really need a vacation. But the moment she looked back at the tiny patient in her care, her expression softened. The little Ven kit blinked up at her, tired but calm. Sophia smiled faintly. There, all better. The cub chirped, curling up as she stroked behind its ears. See, Sophia whispered. Safe now. And for just a moment, she forgot about the council meetings, the protocols, and the galaxy's new fascination with her species. Across the room, Dr. Azla watched from the doorway. You know, she said softly, you've changed more than galactic law. You've changed us. Sophia tilted her head. How do you mean? Azla gestured to the resting cubs, the calm patients, the peaceful hum in the medical bay. We used to think dominance was survival, but watching you work, I think we were wrong. Maybe survival always belonged to the ones who protect. Sophia gave a small smile. Maybe it's both. The doctor tilted her head, curious. Both. Predators protect their territory. Parents protect their children. And humans? We protect everything we care about, sometimes even the ones who don't think they deserve it. Azla smiled faintly. You really don't realize how dangerous that sounds, do you? Sophia chuckled. If caring makes us dangerous, maybe the galaxy needed a little danger. They both looked over as the doors opened and Commander Korvac entered. He still carried himself with rigid posture, but the hostility was gone. Instead, there was something new in his eyes. Respect. Dr. Martinez, he said formally. Sophia looked up. Commander? He hesitated, clearly fighting some internal reflex. The Council's decision was unanimous. Humanity is now recognized as a peacekeeping authority in all child welfare and protection cases. Sophia nodded. So I heard. Any other life-altering news? Korvax's expression twitched into what might almost have been amusement. You also have full security clearance. You outrank me in protective emergencies. Sophia blinked. I what? It was unavoidable, he said dryly. Biology made the argument for you. Lucky me, she muttered. Korvax watched her for a long moment. You still think you're just a vet tech, don't you? Sophia looked down at the small patient asleep beside her. Maybe that's exactly why this happened. I didn't want power. I just didn't want anyone to get hurt. The commander nodded slowly. That's what makes you terrifying. Then his tone softened, but also maybe necessary. He turned to leave, but paused at the door. For what it's worth, Dr. Martinez, I'm glad it was your kind who discovered the back door in our biology. If it had been anyone else, he shook his head, we wouldn't have survived it. Sophia watched him go, her thoughts quiet and heavy. She wasn't a hero. She wasn't a commander or a diplomat. She was just a human who caught a falling cub. But somehow, that one small act had made the galaxy bow. Not to strength, but to kindness. Later, as the station lights dimmed for rest cycle, Sophia walked through the silent medical ward. Dozens of young patients, predator and prey alike, slept peacefully. The air felt calm. Safe. She paused at the viewing window, watching the stars drift beyond the glass. Somewhere out there, councils debated, empires argued, civilizations trembled. But here in this quiet room, the universe's oldest rule still held true. Protect the small, and you protect everything. Sophia smiled faintly. Guess that's one instinct we all share. Behind her, the cub she'd saved months earlier, now a bit bigger, stronger, curious, peeked from the doorway. He chirped softly. Sophia turned and smiled. Couldn't sleep? The cub padded forward, curling against her leg, purring softly. She reached down, scratching his head gently. Don't worry. You're safe. Always. Outside, the stars shimmered in silence. And across that vast, ancient galaxy, predators old and powerful still remember the human who reached for a falling cub and made the universe remember what real strength looked like. Tone. Sincere, cinematic, and inviting. Designed for HFY YouTube audiences. And that was the human reached for a fallen cub. Every predator in the room lowered its head in silence. If that story hit you right in the chest, remember, sometimes humanity's greatest power isn't our technology or our weapons. It's that quiet, unstoppable instinct to protect. So what did you think? Would the galaxy fear us or follow us? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I read every single one. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. It helps this channel reach more fans of HFY, sci-fi, and humanity being awesome stories like this one. And hey, share this one with someone who might need a reminder. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change an entire galaxy. Thanks for watching, Legends. Until next time, stay human. Vulcan salute.